Hey, what's up guys, Tiger Flash here, and today we're actually reviewing the best iPad ever made, which is the iPad Air 2. Released in 2014, this device is still supported for 2021 onto iOS 14. So, without further ado, let's start the B-rolls.
And I've been chillin', watching the ocean with you. Baby, up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our clouds when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the mall soon. I know she got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding.
Hey, what's up guys, Tiger Flash here, and today we're going to review the best iPad ever in my opinion, which is the iPad Air 2. Okay, so a little disclaimer before we start. This iPad is actually running the latest version of iPadOS, so iPadOS 14.3. So it supports all the new features, basically, at least most of them. So that means, you can multitask like pretty easily, like you open Safari, then you want to open, for example, an application that can multitask. I think Chrome probably can multitask. There you go. So actually, there you go. You can multitask with Safari and Chrome. You can move Chrome around. No glitchiness, nothing. There you go. So it supports most of the new features. So let's start the review. Okay, so you guys are probably wondering why I think the iPad Air 2 is the best iPad ever released. So for me, it's a simple answer. I like things that last a long time. I want my money to be worth. When I buy something, I want to keep it for years, and I want the thing that I've bought to work a long time. And that's where the iPad Air 2 comes in play. So, the iPad Air 2 was actually released on October 16, 2014, now around 6.5 years ago. So, that's pretty crazy. And do you know what's even crazier? The iPad Air 2 is still supported under iOS 14, which means it's gonna get support until September 2021. Moreover, I think that Apple will probably do the same thing with iOS 14 or iPadOS 14 that they did with iOS 12 for the iPhone 5S or iPhone 6, which means I think they're gonna be releasing some version of iOS 14 after the release of iOS 15, probably in September 2021. So I really think that iOS 14 will be the last version of support for the iPad Air 2, but I think that they're gonna be continuing to support the Air 2 under iOS 14 for maybe 1 to 2 years. So that means that the iPad Air 2 will get around 7 years of official support and maybe like 9 years of update, which is amazing for an iPad and the best we've ever seen from Apple and from basically any tablet company. But why was the iPad Air 2 supported for so long? I mean, even today, like for Android phones, it's common to see like phones getting supported for 2 to 3 years max. And back in the days, like for example, the iPod 4 released in 2010 lost support around somewhere in 2013 with iOS 6. So this is around 3 years of support. So why did the iPad Air 2 release 4 years later got 7? I think that it comes down to the processor, the 8X, which is a triple core CPU, which is pretty uncommon. I mean, you will see like dual core or quad core, but it's pretty rare to see triple core CPU, but that's what Apple went with for the iPad Air 2. And the 2 gigabytes of RAM that the iPad Air 2 came with, which doubles what came with the iPad Air 1 releases 1 year earlier. So back in the day, the iPad Air 2 came with 4 configurations: a 16 gigabyte, a 32 gigabyte, a 64 gigabyte, and a 128 gigabyte variant. This is a 64 gigabyte variant, so I recommend at least 32 because nowadays 16 is just not enough. Another thing that is really good with the iPad Air 2 is actually the laminated display. So as you can see, there is no air gap in between the display and the bezels. And this was a problem on some iPads. I mean, not a problem, but it's really better to have a laminated display since you really have the impression that like things are way closer to you. When you touch an application, it's really like responsive and you touch it, like for example the iPad 6th gen or even other iPads, they don't have laminated display for the most part, for base model iPad at least. And there's like a gap in between the display and the application on the screen, and it can be annoying sometimes. So the Air 2 has a laminated display, which is really good. So moreover, this resolution of the screen is 2048 by 1536, which equals to around 264 ppi. So that means that you can't tell pixels from a normal viewing distances. So it's like a retina screen. And yeah, well, I mean, it's actually pretty good. The screen is decent. Colors are good. It's not like the newest iPad with true tone displays and, like the 120 Hz refresh rates of the iPad Pro. But it's definitely good enough for 2014 and even in today's standards for like normal consumer devices. Like if you watch YouTube videos or if you just browse the web, you won't be annoyed by the screen. It's actually really good, and you can't tell pixel even in text if you're looking from normal distances. It also has Wi-Fi AC Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth 4.0, which means that it supports AirDrop technology and all of that. But the Air 2 does not support the Apple Pencil, which can be a bummer for some people, but in the most part, if you're using a 7 years old Apple device, I mean, you shouldn't expect to use the Apple Pencil. And yeah, for students, it may be a bummer, or for like creators, but for the most part, for most people, it's gonna be good enough. They're gonna be using the Air 2 on for browsing the web or to watch video, and it's still really good at that. We're gonna see in a moment. Okay, so before we start a comparison, since the video is probably getting boring and you probably already left out of the video, but I'm sorry, give me a second. So the battery life on the iPad Air 2 is actually amazing. So the Air 2 originally came in with a 27.3 watt-hour battery, which was good for 10 hours for Apple claims. But what I like the most about the iPad Air 2 battery is the longevity. So this particular iPad was bought in 2015, but it has been to a really hard use. I mean, it is the main consumer device for my family. So that means we always on YouTube on this device, on Facebook, on Google Chrome, etc. So the iPad is actually getting used quite a lot, around 5 to 6 hours a day since 2015. So this device actually has more than 900 battery cycles on the clock. And the fact that is really impressive is that the battery is still at 84%, which is amazing. So you're probably wondering, how can I know the number of battery cycle and the battery health of this iPad? Because Apple does not provide battery health directly into the settings like they do on iPhones. Actually, I install a Coconut battery, which is an application that you can install on Mac devices and maybe Windows, but I'm not sure, but I know it's working for Mac. And you just plug in your iPad via the Lightning cable, and boom, there you go. It's gonna tell you battery cycles and etc. Okay, so just to prove my claims, check this out. I charged this iPad to 100% actually on January the 12th, so at the end of the day. So basically, I've used it 5 hours and 27 minutes on January the 13th, and now we're January the 14th, and I've used it an hour and 5 minutes, so that means around 6 hours and 33 minutes on a single charge, and it still have 29% of battery, which is amazing for such an old devices with so many battery cycle. I mean, my mid 2012 MacBook Pro has around 800 battery cycles, so a bit less than this iPad, and the battery health is like at 62%. It lasts like 3 hours. So this iPad is amazing when it comes to battery life, and I love it. Oh, and yeah, a little disclaimer, as you can see, I'm using this iPad mostly on YouTube, Messenger, and Facebook, as it comes for today. And if we see in the week, I'm using it on YouTube, Messenger, and Facebook. So 8 hours on YouTube this week, so it's a bit less than usual. But yeah, I'm using this device quite a lot, and it's been holding up very well. Oh yeah, and since I'm talking about the device holding up, actually one thing great on this iPad. So this button, the power button is okay. The like the main button is okay. The volume up button is working, but actually the volume down button is stuck, and I won't bang on it too much, since some people it's stuck down, so the volume is always going down, but mine is actually just stuck and nothing happens. So what I like about iPads is that you can do everything with touch control. Like if I go into Google Chrome, I can swipe like on newer iPhone. Whoop, I can swipe again, and I can do like this kind of gesture to bring up this and to swipe up to do this. So actually I can change the sound by going here and just adjust the brightness and the sound like this. And I can actually close the device without even touching it, just by using my case. And I can also open it just by using my case. So now it's not working, but believe me, it works. And also if I just do this, touching the case, my case is pretty old, and there you go, it's on the main screen. And I've made it in the settings so I don't have to press this button. So actually let's do it again. I was not fast enough. And then you would just have to touch without pressing, and boom, Touch ID. And we are in the main screen. So actually I really love Touch ID. So this iPad does not have Face ID like newer iPad, even though base models still have Touch ID. I really love Touch ID. And since we're in 2021 now, but you know, 2020 has just ended with all this COVID-19 pandemic, we're all wearing masks, and honestly, Touch ID has been amazing. I don't really like Face ID. I mean, I love it, but I prefer a good old Touch ID. It could be a bit faster, but it's good enough. I really love it. So can't complain about that. So I really love this iPad. I don't know if it shows like in the video, but man, I love this iPad. It's so good. So now we're gonna actually do a little comparison, since I want to prove to you that this iPad Air 2 is still pretty fast. I mean, it's still a beast. Of course, if you want to game on an iPad, I recommend iPad Pro and your iPad, you know, since this iPad is an old CPU, but it's actually still pretty good. I mean, you can play Fortnite or COD Mobile as these devices, on this device, but yeah, it's gonna be a bit choppy, and frames per second is gonna be a bit down compared to newer devices. You're gonna have to set the settings to low and not extreme, and of course it won't show off at like 120 hertz. It's gonna be like more like maybe 25, 35 FPS, maybe 40 if you're lucky. But actually I've played Fortnite and COD Mobile on this device, and yeah, it's playable. You can put a controller and it's playable. And since it's, you know, iPadOS 14, you can put a controller, you can put like keyboard and mouse. Mouse is a bit choppy, yeah, but on every iPad it's gonna be choppy. But yeah, I'm really looking towards the new smart cases, so I don't know how they call it. I'm sorry if I made a mistake here. But you know, the case with the built-in trackpad that Logitech make, for the or Apple or any company, basically, that they make for the iPad. It's not compatible with this one, but for newer iPad that actually have a built-in keyboard and a built-in trackpad. So this looks pretty good, but I'm not sold on like the replace your computer kind of thing. I mean, I like to have a Mac and an iPhone that I just use for calls, and my Mac to work, and the iPad is like the chill out devices or the study devices. So I actually found out that I really love to study on this iPad. So you can see I have OneDrive, and all of my, you know, studying things are backed up in OneDrive, and I just open OneDrive, click, 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 there you go, study pages, and I can study like in my bed, on the sofa, wherever you go. It's so portable and so light. And yeah, this case is really old and ugly, but I love it. I mean, you can turn it like how you want, and you can place it wherever you want. So it's pretty fun, and it's the back of it is actually it's cosmic gray, and it's looking like brand new because of this case. So it's actually a Targus case, but yeah, it's old, but it's been holding up pretty well. Oh yeah, and I want to talk real quick about the camera on this iPad. So actually it have a front and a back facing camera. The front is actually 1.2 megapixels, which is good enough for like normal selfies, and the back is actually an 8 megapixel camera. And I don't know if you've noticed, but now we're actually filming on the iPad Air 2 itself. So this is my car, I'm filming my car, and it's night. So the camera is actually way better in daytime, since you can see pixels into the screen. Right now it's not the best camera, but it's good enough to take like normal pictures. But yeah, it's no iPhone 12, it's nothing crazy. It's no professional camera, but it's getting the job done. As you can see, the job done, and as you can see, the sound is actually pretty good. It's pretty echo now. We're in the garage, but yeah, it has dual microphone, all the good things, And yeah, I mean, it looks pretty decent. I'm gonna insert a photo right here. And yeah, as you can see, it's looking pretty decent. It's not as good as like even an iPhone 6s or iPhone SE, but yeah, it's a decent camera, nothing crazy, but iPads are not made to take crazy pictures. Okay, so I don't know if you've noticed, now we changed again the filming device. So we're now filming on the iPhone SE, which is actually my personal phone, and brightness is a bit too high in this phone. There you go, it's way better. And yeah, the iPhone SE actually has a better camera quality than the iPad Air 2, which is actually really noticeable. I don't know if you can see it right here. I mean, I'm filming screens. It's nothing crazy. Screens are gonna never turn out good. But before I was filming with this iPhone, it's an iPhone XR. It has a 12 megapixel camera, just like the iPhone SE, but it's a better sensor on the iPhone XR. But why am I showing the iPhone XR next to the iPad Air 2? I actually want to show to you the capabilities of the iPad Air 2 in terms of quickness for like normal tasks. Nothing crazy, no gaming. I mean, I've said you can game on it, but it's nothing crazy. But like for normal tasks, like watching videos, going to browse the web, opening apps, I want to compare it to the iPhone XR, which actually have the A12 chip, so 4 generation newer, and it also has 3 gigabytes of RAM compared to 2. So it's newer type of cores, newer CPU, more RAM, and the iPad Air 2, which was released like 4 years before the iPhone XR. But can the iPad Air 2 hold up? Let's find out. Okay, so first step, let's open let's close all the apps to each devices. So we are now clearing up the iPhone XR, and we're now clearing up the iPad Air 2, so nothing is already open. And actually, let's open the most used app that I commonly use, which is YouTube. So there you go, into 3, 2, 1, go. And yeah, it's a bit faster on the iPhone XR, but man, it's still pretty usable onto the iPad Air 2. So when it comes to scrolling, as you can see, I mean, it's really fluid. And here, it's like a bit choppier even. And yeah, the Air 2 holding up really well. And the screen is so good on the Air 2. I mean, this is a bit better screen when you see it in real life, but I mean, the size is just amazing. So if you go into my subscribe, there you go, and you scroll down. I mean, man, it's not lagging, And here we scroll down. It's not lagging too, but I mean, it's a newer device. And if we start a video, so let's start the same video. Let's go all the way up and start a video. So it's gonna be this one. It's like, see, saying the same thing. We're gonna do a sound test later. So as you can see, it's playing really well. So let's pause the XR for now. Go into the Air 2. As you can see, resolution is now 1080p on the Air 2. I mean, I can advance, nothing's lagging, no frame drops. I mean, it's so good, honestly. You see, I'm just, you know, I like scrolling like it's butter, you know. Boom, boom. I can scroll. I can start like another video for like, let's start a video from iPad Mini. You see, simple.
Welcome back, everyone. This is,
And
I
there
think,
you
the
go.
second or third iPad that I
It's
actually
not lagging. It's
reviewed
so
this year.
crazily smooth. I can close it. Boom, boom. I can like open the camera apps, and you go. It's so good. So let's continue the comparison. Okay, so as I've just shown, let's go to camera. So I'd actually close it on the Air 2. 3, 2, 1, go. And yeah, pretty much the same. And the Air 2 is such an old device. So it's pretty amazing. It's flawless. I really love the Air 2. The Apple Store, I don't know if I've said it enough, but I really love it. Apple Store, 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, a bit faster. It was not on the same page, sadly. A bit faster. Okay, so now let's do pages. 3, 2, 1, go. And yeah, you're noticeably quicker on the newer iPhone, but honestly, do you really need to open application that fast? Okay, so let's do a last one. Okay, so yeah, for example, Facebook. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, man, pretty fast on both. And if you scroll down, it's not lagging a bit. For such an old devices, it's actually crazy. I don't know if you get it, but like for 2014 device to be that smooth, and it's never like the battery is so good that it's not like quitting application because of like the batteries. It never do that. My iPhone SE, which is newer, does that, but not the iPad Air 2. It's amazing. It's really good devices. So my sister actually plays Among Us and it goes flawlessly on the Air 2. So yeah, let's open a last app like music, 3, 2, 1, go. And yeah, it was not on the same page because I have music on the Air 2. I don't have music on the iPhone XR, which I just like throw away. But yeah, you get it. It's pretty fast. It's scrolling pretty fast. Let's do like a browsing the web. I won't do it on the XR since it depends on the bandwidth. We have gigabyte Ethernet here, but hey, who cares? So let's go into the Apple website. So apple.ca, as you can see. 3, 2, 1, go. And man, this device is amazing. So you actually have web browsing like desktops if you go into Safari, and I think even Chrome supports it. Like it's browsed for like Macs, and yeah, it's working flawlessly. You can scroll, and Apple website is a pretty big website, and I hope you get it. Let's go like iMac Pro. I press it. It's loading like normally. You can scroll like real fast, and yeah, we're at the bottom. We go back. Oh, actually, it was a black screen. I was like, what? But yeah, it's actually pretty good. Surprisingly good. And you do this and boom. So yeah, it's actually a really good device. Okay, so now let's do sound comparison. So the Air 2 actually has two bottom firing speakers. And let's compare it to the iPhone XR. So I'm gonna put you as close as possible to the devices. And let's start with the iPad Air 2. Let's start the tenor. Okay, so I'm gonna stop it since you can't really hear it on the video. But yeah, in real life, the iPhone XR is actually a bit better. It's clearer, it's a bit louder, but yeah, for old devices, it's pretty good. But I found that just bottom firing speakers is actually not the best. I wish there were a speaker right there, because like when you're listening to videos like this, like you're eating or something, sound is coming from the right, so you actually have to put like a cereal box right there, just so the sound hit the box and comes back to you. Since it's all going back there, it's annoying people that are sitting in the living room. But yeah, the speaker is actually really decent. It's like nothing to complain about, seriously. But look how it's scrolling. It's amazing, honestly. So yeah, to give a little bit more info onto the for the iPad Air 2, I mean, the front camera can film up to 1080p. So if you compare it to like the iPhone XR, which is 4K, but you know, some newer iPads still use the same camera as it, not the Pros of course, but like base model. And yeah, you can film up to 720p from the front-facing camera. So as you can see, there was actually a Wi-Fi plus cellular devices with like SIM cards, but this one is only Wi-Fi. And like if you want to go on the go, it's pretty good. You know, you can have add a subscription to your iPad. So like it was a nano SIM, and you know everything normal. You know, it's compatible with Apple Pay, as you can see, and yeah, it's, you know, pretty good device. And actually, I'm gonna be editing this video, this entire video, in iMovie on this iPad Air 2. So I'm actually filming now only in 1080p. You know, no reason to push the quality because I'm filming the screen, as I said. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing some videos outside soon enough, but now school has start again. So I'm now a bit in a rush. I'm doing quick videos. I'm sorry if the quality was not amazing. I know it's not amazing, but man, I'm sorry. I'm busy with school and I prioritize school. But yeah, as you can see, I'm gonna edit this entire video onto iMovie on this iPad, and I guarantee it's gonna work flawlessly. I did it before, and actually it almost works better than my mid 2012 MacBook Pro. I mean, iMovie on this iPad is amazing. It's not really choppy for 1080p purposes, and yeah, it's actually really good. So it shows how good the Air 2 is still today. So you're gonna see this entire video. It's all edited on this iPad Air 2. Okay, so now I've just removed the case. I did not even clean it. It's a bit dirty, but man, it's flawless because of the case. It looks so good in cosmic gray. I don't know if you say cosmic gray in English. I think so. In French, it's gris cosmique for people who talk French. But yeah, actually, we have a lightning port right here. So actually, the iPad Air has also a lightning port, the first one, and it's still using lightning to this day, except for some models. I mean, now they're starting to use USB-C, but for iPhones, they're still using lightning to this day, and for base model iPad, it's still lightning. But yeah, I think that they're gonna go straight up from, maybe this comment is gonna go really aged really bad, but I think that they're gonna go straight up from lightning to no ports at all on the iPhone soon enough, because I don't see why they're still on lightning if they are going to upgrade to USB-C. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but hey, anyway. So the Air 2 actually has a lightning port, two bottom firing speakers, as I said, and actually the Touch ID button, sorry for the dirty screen, is getting dirty really easily. I just cleaned it before the video. And here you have an headphone jack, which is rare today. And we have, you know, the power button, the back camera with the microphone, two volume button, the other microphone, and yeah, that's pretty much what it is. We have the front facing camera right there, and yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And man, it looks still pretty good to this day. It's pretty amazing. I love this device, honestly. Like, getting 7 years of support from a tablet. I mean, name me an Android device. I mean, look at that Apple logo shining. Give me an example from an iOS device that has 7 years of support. For now, nothing. And you know, which Android device got 7 years of support? No one. No Android device actually got 7 years of support, and it still performs flawlessly to this day, this iPad. So yeah, that's why I really love it. Look, let's just start it. 3, 2, 1, go. Touch ID, boom. I mean, it's so good. 2014, man. 2014. Okay, so just as a disclaimer, we're now in front of the festive tree. So not the Christmas tree, the festive tree. So since it's now January, and man, it's so light. It's crazy, man. I've never felt it like without a case, and it's so light, it's so thin, it's so fun to use, it's amazing. So it's actually just 437 grams, and man, it feels so light compared to any device I've used, like any computer, man. And you know, it just feels like, you know, a really lightweight computer, and I love it. So the screen is actually 9.7 inch, so a bit smaller than newer iPad, even base models, but man, I love it so much. And look how good it looks. It's crazy. I mean, I just did it as a joke, but man, it's so light it can even hold in a Christmas tree. Like, wow. It's amazing. Man, look at those viewing angles. Apple just nailed this IPS display. Okay, so I wanna actually answer a question just before I ended the video. So, should you buy the iPad Air 2 in 2021? So, as I said, the iPad Air 2 is an amazing device, and I think you should buy it, but at the same time, you should not. So, why should you buy it? I mean, it's still supported. I mean, it will be until like September 2021, since there's no way it's gonna get iPadOS 15. I can't believe. I mean, it's not confirmed yet, but man, it's not gonna get it. But I mean, it's still gonna be supported until September 2021, and you're gonna probably be able to install all your applications for like until 2023, 2024. So that gives you a good 2 to 3 years of use out of this iPad. Batteries usually hold up pretty well. Screen is good. I mean, yeah, why shouldn't you? I mean, the reason why you shouldn't is the price. Actually, I mean, at least in Quebec, those devices are so expensive, like used. I mean, I see these for like $250, $300, and at those kind of price, I mean, just go out and buy the new iPad 8th generation. It's brand new. It's gonna last you like at least 5, 6, 7 years, and just buy a new one. But yeah, if you can get an iPad Air 2 for like $100, $50, I mean, why not? It's a really good device. But man, here they're going for crazy prices, and man, I don't know what they're usually going for, like in the US or thing like that, but here they go for like FC price. I mean, I've seen them like as high as like $400 for like 64 or 128 variants, which is crazy when you think, like, I think in Quebec it's starting at like $429 for the iPad 8. So why would you bother buying a 2014 device? But if you can find one for like a decent amount of money, I mean, probably like, I mean, in Canadian money, I would not pay more than $150 for such an old device. Even though it's still pretty good, it's still a 2014 device. So if you can find it for like maybe like 125, 120 US dollar, yeah, go ahead, buy it. But for more than that, nah, just buy the new stuff, like iPad 8 or a used iPad Pro. But I like new stuff, so iPad 8 for me, or like the iPad Air 4. But there's so many choices, and like with the A12, A13, A14 chips, and they're gonna last you a long time. But yeah, if you can find an iPad Air 2 for a decent price, and if you already have an iPad Air 2, don't upgrade. I mean, I could upgrade, I won't. I probably will upgrade maybe sometime in 2022 or maybe even 2023, because I want to be able to install all the apps, of course. And when I'm gonna upgrade, I'm gonna probably buy an iPad Air, probably an iPad Air 5, if an iPad Air 5 does exist, like in 2022 or 2023, and or maybe I'm gonna buy the normal regular iPad. But if you have an iPad Air 2 and you do normal stuff, no crazy gaming, no crazy montage, no crazy work, you have a computer for the crazy stuff, yeah, don't upgrade. It's pretty good enough for like 2 to 3 years without any issue. So yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed the review on this iPad Air 2. I actually really love it, and yeah, I hope that it shows in the video. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and I'm gonna do more video like this, and maybe I'm gonna be reviewing some cars in the future, or some bicycle, or some lawnmower. Let me know what you want. I have like 10 lawnmowers, I have bicycles, I have cars, whatever you want, computers. But yeah, for now I'm gonna be doing school things. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this review onto the iPad Air 2, and I'm looking forward to see you in more videos. Ciao, ciao.
Like a bass guitar, simmer down and mash me up. like I'm Jimmy at Woodstock. They are drumming round and no right for it. Shivers down my spine.